Hi, my name is Shauna Germain, and I'm going to talk for just a few minutes about what you can do if really bad dice rolls are either potentially threatening to kill a character or kill your scene. Obviously, if you're playing a game where the GM rolls the dice and you're using a GM screen, you can always fudge those dice. But since we're mostly talking about Cypher System, that's not really an option. So if you're in a scene and you're worried that these bad dice rolls are about to kill a character, the first thing that I usually do is I ask, what is the narrative effect of this? If that character is deeply injured or if that character dies, are we going to have some amazing narrative moment? Does it become a sacrifice? Do all the other players rally together to save this character? Does something happen where they get a second wind and they die, but they come back through something unexpected? Like, is there a major narrative moment that can happen here? Usually with players' consent, of course, because that's important, if the character does die or almost dies. And in that case, you might let it roll out and see what happens. If the character dying is not a good narrative moment, if it's just a thing where the dice rolls are sucking and it's not making a good story, at that point you have lots of options of things to bring in. You could make a cipher or an artifact malfunction in the way that heals everyone. You could do something where there's a player intrusion and someone shows up. You could do a GM intrusion where someone shows up. GM intrusions don't always have to be negative. You could make something happen where the foe of the foe shows up and distracts the foe long enough for the character to get healed. So there are lots of ways to do this within the mechanical space where you can give the character that's dying a little breathing room or a little bit of a recovery time or a way to maybe rally even though the dice rolls are absolutely sucking. The other part of that is if the dice rolls are killing a scene, I think usually when we talk about this, it means that the scene is boring, it's not very interesting, it's just kind of it's not doing what it should be doing narratively. In that case, I think that there are ways to make the scene better that are similar to what I suggested for not killing a player or not killing a character. Don't kill your players, which is that you can bring in all these cool elements to make it better. Again, a cipher malfunctioning or a artifact going awry or anything like that is so fun, and it makes for this really wonderful, surprising moment at any time. And so I think you can bring in allies, you can bring in enemies, you can bring in all kinds of interesting story elements that actually have nothing to do with the dice rolls. And that's why they're there. The dice rolls and the story elements should play together and make it so that you're able to interject the two into each other to increase the narrative.